Hey everybody, it's Jim with Triple J Bricks. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be establishing a new storage unit for the Bricklink store. And I am going to bring you along with sort of my entire process and how I'm going to do this. And I think hopefully this is helpful to anybody who is looking at starting a Bricklink store or is new to Bricklink and is trying to figure out how to do storage. The long and the short of it is, as long as you can feel confident in where it's stored and how it's stored, then really you just got to get started, because you can always make adjustments later, but it's just really about taking that first step and doing some things. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to do this because I'm going to be doing the Acro Mills unit today, and I thought it would be very helpful to kind of document the process, and hopefully it helps you a little bit. So let's get started. This order is going out to Laura for $6.85. A couple string, toe ball parts, some minifigure parts, an old sign, and a shield. And yeah, thank you, Laura. Before we begin, the reason that I am starting this unit at all is I've moved all of my personal parts out. I'm going to, I think I'm just going to leave these drawers for now, and I'm just going to label every other drawer. But anyway, the reason we got started is because I have 3 of these new sets that really should be parted out, and a 4th set of all new parts as well. And I am running out of space. I mentioned this in the last video that I store a lot of parts in here and Bricklink store stuff. This drawer desperately needs a makeover, but I need to figure out how to do that and where these would go. I mentioned in the last video that I could just bag these up like I do in the drawer units and throw them in there, but the reality is that there would be this many parts. I've never actually parted out multiple new sets before, or used, I guess, for that matter, and there's just gonna be a lot of parts. This is gonna be, you know, over 1,200 pieces, and they need a better home than just throwing it all into a bag and then going to scavenge for it later. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to maybe use the Acro Mills as a way to store new parts and maybe even migrate some of those parts into there. But this is a clean slate. This is a brand new thing, and essentially all you got to do is just label it, make sure you know where things go, and then you hop into Brick Store and, you know, attach the labels to it. So first thing I'm going to do is put labels on this so that I can get it labeled, and then we will rip these open and part them out, and I'll show you how I do that on Brick Store. Printer is done. I have cut them all up and placed them terribly, so I'm gonna have to put them in order, because I was just kind of cutting and dropping them, and they got a little mixed up. So now I'm just gonna put them onto the unit. All labeled. I'm going with C1001 through C1046, and I'll just get 4748 when those become available and I have a place for them. I did have a couple of the dividers, so this first row of larger drawers is divided. So into 1033, 1034, just to give myself a little bit more drawer space. In terms of ones that have dividers this way, I'm just going to leave it 1019. I'm not going to separate them further that way. I'm only going to do them this direction. So if they have a divider, that's great. I'll just, you know, pop some parts in the front, some parts in the back. But I'm not planning on overloading these drawers per se, so I should be able to keep it fairly simple. But my plan is that any of the parts that there's like large quantities of, those will just take one of those slots there. And then, another part maybe that's a little bit bigger and a different color, just to kind of break them up a little bit. And anything that is going to be like a 2x4 brick or a larger plate or anything like that, those are going to end up getting bagged and put in a drawer back there. And I'm going to try to keep these to smaller parts so I don't overcrowd drawers. I would rather fill bags with larger pieces. So, because I don't really have a lot of 2x4 bricks listed in my store, maybe a couple new pieces, but I don't have any used listed, because what I have currently, the place that I store all of my 2x4 bricks are in this stack here. Yellows, whites, reds, blues, greens, blacks, dark grays, and also random colors, light bluish grays, browns, and then these are all old colored of parts of all kinds. So I eventually probably should list some bricks just to have, but they are big and chunky and they're inexpensive, generally speaking, so I just haven't had a chance. Honestly, I could go through those bins and I could just label those bins, whatever, the bin number, just number them 1 through whatever, and just count up whatever bricks are in there, and I could just list those. But that's going to be a later later date. So what I'm going to do now is open up Brickstore, and I will show you how to import these sets. Okay, so here we are in Brickstore, and what we're going to do is I have my number part out list here all set up in a document, and then you just click the plus button, and now we're going to add the sets. So you just need to put in 31143 and make sure you select set, and there it is. There's the birdhouse set. So we'll click that. We'll make sure down here that it says used right here. And then we'll click add. And now what it's going to do is it's going to add the entire set. So you can add the entire set if you want to sell it as a set, but we want to part it out. So we're going to right click on it, and we're going to go down to part out item. Should the selected items be parted out into the current document, replacing the selected items? So basically all the parts and then replace the birdhouse set. Yes. We have 3 of them to part out. They're all new parts. I exclude extra parts because, and maybe I should include them. I'm fairly new to Brickstore myself. I'm just showing you like what I do. I exclude the new parts or extra parts because I don't know if you're going to get the same extra parts each time, and I guess I don't really know how that works. So it's not a big deal. It's just a few parts that we're going to be excluding, and they'll be sitting in that bag for a while. I'm not super concerned about it. So just for safety reasons, though, I'm excluding them. I could be totally wrong on that, and you could be fine to say include, and it would be good. Let me know in the comments if you also use Brickstore and you hit include, because then that's something I'll do moving forward. I don't include the instructions because I don't have any instructions currently listed. You can include the instructions in the original box, and you can sell them those individually as well. I just haven't really set up a way to store instructions that makes sense yet. So it's just another thing I have to hold on to. And I know that they'll sell once in a while, but that's up to you, of course. But all right. And then I'm going to click import. And here we are. So now we have every single piece that comes in this set times 3, which is awesome. It's all listed right here. So we have 150 lots and 1,428 items, which that math works because there was like 437 pieces or something per thing. So now we're going to be able to go through this And now it's going to be super simple. So we're going to open up the bags, and we're going to part these out. Now, I do consolidate my store. And I've thought about this, and I thought about, being a non-consolidated store, basically meaning if I have a bunch of parts in one place, then I consolidate them on Bricklink so that when I add new ones, I go and find that drawer or that bag and I fill it with the other parts so that they're all in one place. If you run a non-consolidated store, you basically just start a new bag or a new drawer or a new number, etc., for a new part, and you don't consolidate. So it saves you a little bit of time on the front end, and it may or may not add more time on the back end. It may or may not add more space. It's sort of a math game that I'm still figuring out and trying to work through. But for now, I consolidate. So there are going to be some of these parts that exist probably in my store somewhere. So what I'm going to do, they're all highlighted, and I'm going to do Control G, and we're going to say last 6 months of sales on average. Okay. And we're going to see that we now have a value of $134.26 from all of these parts, which is pretty great because I picked all of these up for about $42. So that's a pretty good, that's more than a 3x value. So that's pretty great. So there you go. So then it'll show you all the prices and the total for all those things. I suspect a lot of these are going to be newer to my store, especially as new value. So now what I'm going to do is, I don't know where any of these go. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to click Export, Bricklink Mass Upload, and then that is going to bring up this page. And then I go to New Pricing, Consolidate Lots by using New Pricing. I always just do New Pricing because if there's a slight new price change, I want to reflect that rather than keep it old. So I just always do the New Pricing. And then we're just going to copy. So when we did that, it copied it to our clipboard. And then so all I'm going to do in this XML format is I'm just going to hit Control or Command V, and then that's going to paste the entire list, and then we're going to go Verify File. And it's going to take a little bit. There we go. So now it is showing us where all of these things go, and what it's going to show me as well is it's going to say that these lots specifically are going to be consolidated into this drawer. So I already have these red curved slopes. I have 5 of them in this location, and there's 15 in the set. So you'll see that now we're going to have a new quantity of 20. So you can see here that there's a couple things like that. So these British brown slopes, these black jumper plates, white jumper plates. So a few things, but not a whole lot. Or some reddish brown plates. Yeah. Okay. So this will take me a little bit of time to put those away. But then what I'm going to do is when those get listed, then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make those remarks on where those are in here so that I know what empty spaces are. There's probably a better way to do that, but that is the way I do it just for my brain to make it easier. So for example, let's see, let's go back up to the top. For example, the red curved slopes are in this place. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that number in here. And then I'm going to find those 15 red curved slopes, and I'm going to put them in that location. And then I'll keep referring back to the document, and I'm going to keep doing that. And we're going to do that until those are done. And then I'm going to go through and find the other parts and start putting them into the drawers that I just labeled. So I'm going to get started on this, and then I will come back to you when we are ready to start putting some stuff in drawers. All right, so I have divided all of the parts into just different little trays right now. Roughly, categorize them so when I'm going through the Brickstore file, I can find them, verify the amount of pieces, and then move on. And this will also, I think, help alleviate the extra parts, so then I'll be able to count through them and then just add the extra parts in instead of automatically including the extra parts in the Brickstore file, like I said earlier. So I think that'll be a way to do it. I've never actually parted out multiple sets before, so this is my first time doing it. So it is entirely possible that I'm doing this the slow way or some sort of inefficiency, but it's all good. One thing I do want to point out is when I was parting out these sets, I was, fairly normal, but then I came across one 2x6 tile. There's a bunch of 2x4 tiles in this set in reddish brown, but I came across one 2x6. I don't think I've ever experienced that in a set where I've had such a different part included that was not included. So this one must have just slipped through production. And actually what I haven't checked is, do I have enough of the 2x4 tiles? I'll have to do a count on those, because it's possible that because this got slipped in, maybe I'm short one 2x4 tile? I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, I'm gonna start to import these into the store and check on which ones I have already verified, and then we'll start putting them into drawers. All right, so I have put the parts that already were in the store into the store in terms of where they are located. So those locations are now copied into Brickstore, and I verified the counts and put them away. That actually didn't take too long at all, maybe 10 minutes. And what I've done is I've decided to take larger parts like these 1x6 arches and the larger plates, the 6x10 plates and the 6x8 plates, and those are all in a bag also in that drawer, because I don't want to fill the acromills with those larger parts. So everything I have left here, I do have some bricks. I guess I could put those away somewhere else, but they're fairly low profile, and I think I'll be able to get them in there. And then also parts like these, but those will totally fit in the drawer just fine. I think I'm down to kind of now the size of parts that will go in drawers. To that end, what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna start to go through this by quantity. So I'm gonna sort the list by quantity in the other direction. And so a couple of the higher quantity pieces are already into different bags, but the next step would be these trans yellow bricks. Those are gonna go. So I'm gonna start to do that to make sure that they have their own drawers, and then kind of go down in quantity as we go down. I'm not sure if that's the good way to do it, but that's how my brain is telling me to do it, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll keep you posted once I have a few items in the drawers, and we'll kind of see how I feel after that. Okay, all the parts are in, and they now have drawer numbers assigned to all of them. This took me about a little less than an hour, I think, to get it all done. And then I added the 2x6 tile that was extra. There was the correct number of 2x4 reddish brown tiles, and there just was an extra 2x6 reddish brown tile. I thought about keeping it, but because it's new, I think I'd rather list it. So that was 32 cents, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, everything is gone. All the parts are gone off of here, and they are now in drawers. I cleared up to 10-12, but then I kind of have drawer, these are all of these have the dividers in them, including this entire row, and then this row does not. So Here's where I put like the larger parts without the dividers in. Some of these drawers are decently full, and some of them have many multiple parts types in them. So I'll probably regret that later, but they're small, and I tried to keep colors separated so that they would be very easy to find, right? So if I had black in one side, I would put a black on the other side, but then I would, you know, I have two brown, and I would reds and blues and whites, just stuff that was easy to discern when pulling. This is really my first time doing individual drawer stuff. For my Bricklink store, everything else is either in bags or in like containers. So yeah, so this is brand new for me, but it's been kind of fun to do the drawers. So yeah, so these are all new parts, and I didn't actually end up using as many drawers as I thought, which is cool. So I still have a ton of space here. I basically only use 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and honestly, this one could still probably hold some more parts. So really like 12, 13, 14, 15, like 14 or 15 drawers. So that's cool. I have plenty of space to do some more part outs. So that will actually help me when I do these. This is that other creator set. But again, I'm going to put the like 2x4 bricks and stuff, I think, into bags, and those will go in the back there. But I feel pretty good about this. So I'm going to upload those all to Bricklink, and that's pretty much that. So that's essentially the process, I guess. I thought it might be just interesting to kind of do a little behind the scenes look at how I process through parts using Brickstore and things. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer with my, you know, somewhat limited knowledge on all of this. I'm just kind of feeling it out. And I think what I would like people to take away from this video is that you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know everything before you start. You kind of just have to learn as you go. I think the most important thing about a Bricklink store, and what I try to do, is be as accurate as I can with the parts. I think I take a little bit more time sometimes going through parts. I still make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mislabel a part. There's going to be an error in your quantity. There might even be there's going to be some quality issues probably, right? You might miss a scratch or a dent or something, and someone's going to get back to you on that. But the most important thing is communication and making it right. Because you're not going to get it all right. It's about making it right, and with your customers and the people who are trusting you to send them the parts. And so that's the biggest thing, honestly. What you do behind the scenes, that stuff is all going to be a learning curve, and some orders are just going to be more tough because maybe you don't have the right system, or maybe something was put in the wrong place and you end up taking a long time to find it. That stuff is going to happen. And then there's going to be the easy orders where it's like, oh, I found everything right away. Great. And then you can adapt. You can change all the behind the scenes stuff. But the most important thing is communicating and making sure that your customers are getting what they need, and sending refunds when you need to. All that kind of stuff. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for coming along with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But remember, until then, keep on building. Jim, out.